Today, we have with us a person who has actively worked for rural development and the progress of rural areas and also promotes sustainable and efficient living. Mr. Rahul Deshpande has been leading the rural development project of Venu Madhuri Trust for the last 21 years and has been working as the project coordinator for them. He has been selected by the Global Eco Village Network Australia for the International Permaculture Workshop in Sri Lanka. He has presented various lectures in prestigious institutes such as IIT Delhi, IIM Ahmedabad, and IIT Hyderabad, just to name a few. He has also been awarded for cow conservation and energy conservation as well. So before we start, I would like to give you a little introduction about what Tahan is. Tahan was started in 2016. Our aim is to make India drought resistant. For the last 5 years, our organization has been working very hard to make an impact on people and create awareness about the importance of water conservation and protection of the environment. Over the years, we have successfully impacted 1.4 lakh people, have been able to supply 29 lakh gallons of water and planted over 7,000 trees. We at Tahan are learning, understanding, and implementing as much as we can about water conservation. We are trying to reach out to as many people in India as we can through our website, and we aim to build a community of people who will passionately work towards saving water through new innovation and help us explore better questions. Good morning, sir. I, Divya Mahajan, on the behalf of the whole team of Tahan, welcomes you for this interview session. It's a pleasure having you here with us.
Good morning, Divya.
Before we start with all the main questions, we would like to know a little about your eco-friendly home in Kolhapur and how it functions so efficiently.
First of all, it's a great privilege and honor to me that you have invited me on the platform of Tahan.in. I'm very happy to learn the activities and the purpose and the objectives of Tahan organization, which is functioning from Pune throughout Maharashtra and at other places too. Here at present, we are sharing the same concern of water and Tahan, that is thirst. Out of 84 lakh species of life, there is one thing in common, and that is thirst. And Tahan.in, you good people, are working to fulfill or quench the thirst of the needy. कारण पानी हे जीवन आहे, जल अमृत है, and to quench the thirst of living entity should be the first and the most important priority. So I'm grateful and thankful to Tahan as an organization, to you and all the authorities at Tahan for inviting me on this platform today to share the concern related to our natural resources and specifically related to water. So thanks to all of you, grateful unto you. About this first question about our house, eco-friendly house. For last 20 years, I am working with villages through our organization, Venu Madhuri Trust. Purpose of this organization is integrated sustainable rural development. And as I said, for last 20 years, I'm going to villages, meeting people, understanding them, understanding the rural tradition. By this, I got very much inspired in my personal life about the intimacy, the conservation aspect of villagers towards Mother Earth or towards Mother Nature or water as specific. India is country of villages. There are 6.5 lakh villages in India. All these villages were sustainable, self-sustainable at a point of time. And this self-sustainability were based on the principle of need, on the principle of simplicity. And this simplicity is what appealed me a lot, because since time immemorial, the Indian culture has taught to the world and is still teaching simple living and high thinking. So simplicity in living, which is in tune with nature, respecting nature as a divine nature, a power of supreme, a power of God. And as Mahatma Gandhi says, simple living based on our needs. So this is what inspired me to have a house like a village, which is simple yet profound and in tune with nature. And that's why when we decided to construct a house in city, we constructed it as villagers have it, as villagers construct it based on the local available resources, considering the sustainability of environment. So as villagers do, we try to follow them. So this is how what we have about our house.
Okay, sir. So, water scarcity due to improper usage of water is a major issue our country is facing right now, and especially the villages. So, sir, how does this shortage of water impact the lives of the people in a village? And why does it cause the youth of a village to migrate to urban cities?
As Divya, we mentioned that there are 6.5 lakh villages. Metcalfe, the governor of British, who was sent ahead to study the villages in India, he sent a report to the British Parliament. This was before British invaded India. And the report stated that India is made up of villages. All the villages in India are self-sufficient in its requirement. They does not need anything from outside the village. So they had everything what they need in their village. Now the point is, water was also very scientifically conserved in every village system. A very nice report by Down to Earth, that is CSE Delhi, states that around 100 to 150 years ago, no government, no state government throughout the world or at any place in the world used to supply water to the community. तो ये हमको अच्छी तरह से समझना होगा कि जल की जिम्मेदारी हमेशा से लोगों की खुद की रही है. The communities used to work for their own resource, and that working used to be in tune with nature based on the local availability of the resource. तो ये 150-200 साल में ऐसे क्या हो गया? What has happened that the responsibility of the community has been shifted to state or the state government? This is the most important factor to understand. Our well-known Indian economist, Kautilya's Arthashastra, we say, Kautilya has also very nicely mentioned about water as a resource and as an economy and its major role in upbringing the nation. We know it that the best of the livelihood is first is agriculture. In Marathi, we say it, Uttam Sheti, Madhyama Vyapar, Kanishta Nokri. That's best is agriculture. Second best is trading. And third is service or a job, Nokri. Now, this has been turned topsy-turvy in last 150 or 200 years. At present, villagers also, or the farmer are also moving from away from their farming. Why is this? Also, Kautilya has very nicely added that while doing agriculture also, the first priority has to be given to grains, second for growing vegetables, and then third for growing sugarcane in specific, he has mentioned. Now, being a country of villages, and in villages, the first and the prime profession or source of livelihood is agriculture. Though the whole farming community, to a farmer, we call it as an annadata, he grows for us. Now, his issues and his problems, when they are not been addressed, what starts is migration of villages. The first and the prime issue is scarcity of water. If there is no sufficient water in the village, first for the drinking purpose, second for the agricultural purpose, then a person is forced to migrate, leaving his agricultural occupation to do a menial work or kanishta nokri in town or in city. And then a whole chain of complexity and problems starts. Then there is a growing population in city. Then the slum area increases. This leads to pressure on the local municipality, and then all the issues related to environment starts. Pollution of air, pollution of water, garbage, so on and so forth. So the first thing is, when there is no sufficient water in village for agriculture purpose, a person, a farmer is forced to leave his village. And there are alluring opportunities in cities to attract them as a menial servant or as a labor to cater for them. So the point is, Divya, they are not willing to move. If there are good facilities of water available in village, they are happy. All the farmers, all the villagers are happy to stay in village and to do agriculture or to do cultivation as a whole. So lack of water is what forces them for migration out of village.
What are the steps that need to be taken in order to set up a water irrigation project in a village? And can you please brief us on all these steps?
Based on our Ramanwadi experience, Divya, when I said that in Ramanwadi village, when we started our work, although it has a very heavy rainfall, still only 2.5 acres of the land were under perennial irrigation. And that also, that 2.5 acre belonged to hardly 2 or 3 families in the whole village. So that means the whole village was doing only rain-fed agriculture of growing finger millets and rice during 4 months of the rainy season. Other than the 4 months, rest of the 8 months, all the villagers or the head of the family, the male person, used to migrate to nearby city and town for work. Now, when we started our work, when we did a survey and analysis of whole thing, we sat with people, we discussed with them, and then came out that they need water for irrigation. Now, we started educating them that water village is our home, is our responsibility. Similarly, our village and doing work in village is also our community's responsibility. For our village, we should work for its development. So the first thing, giving a sense of responsibility that it's our work. Now, second thing, there is something called public rural appraisal, PRA, we call it technically. In PRA, we sit with the villagers. We discuss what are the needs, what is the felt need, what is the actual need. And then the villagers say, we need this for the development of our village. Now here beautifully we need to understand that here the community is getting involved to solve their problem. It's coming from them that this is our problem we wish to solve. So then we identified the project. The projects were identified as water for irrigation. Then from where we can get water, how we can get water, that awareness was spread. ये प्रिंसिपल है, हमको कोई भी अगर नेचुरल रिसोर्स बचाने के लिए काम करना है तो वो पानी रहेगा, वो जंगल रहेगा, वो जमीन रहेगा, कोई भी नेचुरल रिसोर्स अगर हमको कंजर्व करना है तो पीपल should, the local people of that area should have this feeling of sense of ownership. और हमारी भारतीय परंपरा में हम हजारों हजारों साल से यही देखते आए हैं कि हमारा जंगल स्थानिक आदिवासी बांधवों ने बचाया है। हमारे जंगल में और जंगल के इर्द गिर्द रहने वाले लोगों ने जंगल का रक्षण किया है। पानी के बारे में भी हर गांव का खुद का कुआं, खुद की नदी या खुद का झरना या खुद का तालाब हुआ करता था। वो गांव वाले खुद बनाते थे, इसलिए वो दीर्घकाल रहता था और इसलिए पानी का संरक्षण होता था। तो दिस सेंस ऑफ ओनरशिप इज अ क्रूशियल फैक्टर। बाद में ब्रिटिश राज आया। ब्रिटिश राज ने बहुत सारे नियम और एक्ट्स बनाए, फॉरेस्ट एक्ट, ये एक्ट, वो एक्ट, जिसमें से गांव वालों से ये सेंस ऑफ ओनरशिप निकाल ली गई ताकि वो रिसोर्सेज का एक्सप्लॉयटेशन हो सके। लेकिन इसमें हमारे देश की, पूरी मानवता की बहुत नुकसान हुआ है, क्योंकि लोगों की भावना ही परिवर्तित हो गई कि हमारा जंगल जो कहते थे और जो बचाते थे सालों से, चिपको आंदोलन लीजिए या फिर कोई भी, तो फिर ये जो सारा था ये चेंज हो गया। लोग सोचने लगे कि अरे हमारा जंगल अभी सरकार का हो गया, सरकार का हो गया और दूसरे लोग लूट रहे हैं बाहर से आके, तो फिर हमें क्या लेना देना है, चलो हम भी उसमें हाथ धो लेते हैं। So this paradigm shift is very dangerous, which has already been happened through because of the British Raj, and then later on because of the act and the policy, and it's still continuing. Anyway, the point is, to sum up the whole thing, गांव में अगर कुछ भी हमको करना है पानी के बारे में, तो पहले लोगों को इकट्ठा करना है। लोगों को इकट्ठा करके फिर उनके साथ बात करके वी नीड टू डिस्कस विद देम व्हाट, हाउ, फिर वो उसमें आगे डीप जाके वी नीड टू गिव ए टेक्निकल असिस्टेंस टू देम, और फिर प्रोजेक्ट में उनका सहभाग अनाज के स्वरूप में, या अगर प्रोजेक्ट का कॉस्ट इफ इट इज 10 लाख, then decide it 5% or 10% will come from villager side, rest we will raise the funds.
So, sir, moving on the next question.
Yeah,
Life
please.
in rural areas is very different from what it is in urban areas. So, how can I use water and other resources efficiently in an urban setting?
Yes. Now, water is essential first for the drinking purpose. The second, the priority has to be given for agriculture. But after 1947, the priorities of water is been redefined, first for the drinking purpose, and the second is been given for the industrial purpose, and the third is for the agriculture purpose. So this is related to the policy that needs to be reset at government level. Now, what we as a human being, what we as an individual, what we can do it to conserve the water as a resources in urban setting. Or this is for you and me who we stay in town and not in villages. So first we need to understand the importance of water. As per the book knowledge, some figures are being stated how much water is required for a city-based person per day per head. How much is required for a taluka-based or a village-based person? Like, for example, 250 liters of water per day per head is the requirement that has been calculated for a city person. Then 150 liters of water per day per head for a taluka-based person, tehsil-based person. And for a person who is staying in village, 80 liters of water per day per head is what has been calculated. Now, we need to understand, are we only utilizing only 250 liters of water per day per head? And if we calculate, if we analyze, our consumption, our direct consumption is much more higher. So I, as a urban person, what's my duty to conserve the water as a resource? This should be the paradigm shift first to understand. It's not because I pay the water bill, that's why I have the right. No, because there is much more higher cost to the water rather than what we are paying in form of a bill. Let's analyze this now. Every item which we use in our daily life has a water embedded cost in it. Like, for example, all these scientific studies states that one notebook page has required 10 liters of water in the whole process of manufacturing. One cup of tea has 150 liters of water in it. 1 kg of sugar, 1 kg of sugar has 5,000 liters of water embedded in it. One jean pant, 11,000 liters of water. One leather shoes, 17,000 liters of water. So these are all hidden water requirements which we use in our daily life, and in cities we use it carelessly. हमें rights के बारे में नहीं बोलना है, हमें कर्तव्य के बारे में बोलना है. That's one. Second, every piece which we utilize, every piece of paper, 10 liters of water, ये गांव वाले नहीं कर रहे, ये शहर में से बर्बादी ज्यादा होती है. तो इसके लिए हमको संवेदनशील, we need to be sensitive in this aspect, and we need to understand कि टैप शुरू कर दिया तो सब कुछ नहीं है. तो हम कैसे कम से कम पानी का इस्तेमाल करें, पानी को आदर दें, पानी का रिस्पेक्ट करें, और दूसरों को देखें जिनको पानी नहीं मिल रहा है उनकी क्या हालत है. Our drainage lines are being dumped into rivers, holy rivers. We have Panchaganga over here in Kolhapur. It's very, सब पूरी भारत की नदियों का हाल इतना खराब है. कौन जिम्मेदार है इसके लिए? तो हम खुद जिम्मेदार है इसके लिए, क्योंकि मैं गंदगी कर रहा हूं. मैं, मेरा ड्रेनेज डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली वो अगर नदी में पंप होता है तो मैं जिम्मेदार हूं. मुझे क्या करना चाहिए वो सोचना चाहिए. ये इंडस्ट्री किसके लिए चल रही है? किसानों के लिए. ये इंडस्ट्री शहर वालों की मांगे पूरी कर रही है, जो most of the time all these demands are been unnecessary demands, and these industries are running and industries are dumping their loads of effluents in rivers. Who is responsible for that? Yes, we are responsible for that. So we need to re-establish the connection. We need to understand the sacredness. ये पवित्रता हमको समझनी है, और हमें संवेदनशीलता से जो भी हम अपनी जगह से कर सकते हैं, जितना कर सकते हैं उतना करने का प्रयास करना है. बस वो काफी है. बहुत बड़ा बड़ा चीज, बड़ा बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट भी जरूरी नहीं है. मैं मेरे जीवन में आज से क्या कर सकता हूँ? 5 लीटर पानी कम इस्तेमाल करूंगा, वो भी काफी है. मैं नदी में गंदगी नहीं जाने दूंगा. नदी को अगर कोई कर रहा है तो ठीक है, आई एम हेल्पलेस, बट मैं नहीं करूंगा. अगर ये हर नागरिक समझ ले, हर नागरिक ये समझ ले तो ये अपने आप सारा चीज ठीक हो जाएगा।
So the last question for the day, that
Yes.
we are living in a generation where water conservation and efficient use of water, like you said, is the need of the hour. So what are your thoughts on this topic, and what would you like to tell to the people who are watching this and about using water efficiently?
I remember Divya on this aspect is Sri Anupam Mishra ji, a very genuine personality. गांधी फाउंडेशन के साथ इन्होंने पूरी जिंदगी अपना काम किया और इन्होंने पानी के लिए इतना सुंदर ढंग से काम किया है। इनकी किताबें है राजस्थान की रजत बूंदे, बाद में ये इंग्लिश में भी ट्रांसलेट हो गई है। He always used to say, Anupam ji always used to say, water conservation is nature plus culture. यानी निसर्ग के साथ निसर्ग और संस्कृति ये जब जुड़ जाता है तो ही पानी का संवर्धन हो सकता है, जो आप तहान से कर रहे हैं या फिर हम वेणु माधुरी ट्रस्ट से करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, या बहुत सारे अच्छे लोग इसमें काम कर रहे हैं दुनिया भर की। तो अगर राजस्थान में आके हम जैसलमेर का उदाहरण लेते हैं तो जैसलमेर में सिर्फ 160 मिलीमीटर ऑफ रेन आता है, और लेकिन जैसलमेर के लोगों के पास ये संस्कृति है कि जो भी निसर्ग ने उनको 106 मिलीमीटर ऑफ रेन इज बीन प्रोवाइडेड, हाउ टू यूटिलाइज दैट रेन वेरी इफिशिएंटली इन ए वेरी कल्चरल वे, ताकि पूरी साल का रिक्वायरमेंट उनका हो सके। And on the contrary, 11,000 millimeters of rain at Cherrapunji, and साल का 8 महीना, 8 months there is a drought over there. So the example which I wish to state is it's nature plus culture, as Anupam Mishra says. और दूसरा कि ये देखो कल्चर कैसा होता है, जैसलमेर में गांवों में भी जाएंगे तो if you go there as a guest, so for a guest they offer a glass of water, and for others they offer a glass of milk. So water is been offered as an honor to the guest, and this is what conserves and gives respect to the nature. So this is what we must try to inculcate: be sensitive, respect nature, serve nature, and serve those who are deprived of it. I think, Divya, this is what I had to say on your last question.
So thank you. It was a great honor for me and the whole team of Tahan to get in touch with you and have a chance to interact with you. And we're so glad that you could spare some of your time and join in with us. And I'm sure that everyone who will watch this will definitely be inspired by your work and try to consciously do their bit from their end. So thank you for joining in with us.
So nice, Divya. I'm again thankful and grateful for Tahan and you as a representative of Tahan.in. So it's our work. Let us try our best, whatever we can do in the present situation, to conserve the nature, conserve water, conserve our environment. And this is what will bring real peace and prosperity to the whole nation and to the whole planet. Last thing I will say and stop here. A saintly person defined what Aishwarya is, prosperity is. The definition of prosperity or Aishwarya. And he said, there are two prosperities. One, natural things in pure form is prosperity. So natural things available in pure form is Aishwarya. And second, pure relations are Aishwarya. So what we are looking for, everyone, is for these two things: rest whoever has access, they need to utilize it in the service of the humanity and the Lord. And we, all of us, we need to try our best to remember this and to help to help our fellow persons, to help the villages and the villagers and those who are not, those who don't have water for drinking. And this is what will really make us happy and the earth a happier place and prosperity to bring in. Thank you very much, Divya, and to the Tahan team.